Stop everything you're doing. What I'm about to show you is a technique that has been deliberately hidden from you. It's a 3-step method created by Thoth that forces your inner vision to awaken. Step number 3 is so powerful that ancient rulers banned it. Why? Because once you learn this, you stop being manipulated. You start to feel the lie before it's even spoken. You predict outcomes with frightening clarity. The system needs you to stay blind, but this knowledge is your chance to see. I'll guide you through the whole process, but if you can't keep a secret, close this video now. What you're about to learn here will give you an unfair advantage. If you're brave enough to continue, comment, "My eyes are open." The foundation of your prison was built on a fundamental lie, so subtle you never thought to question it. The idea that your thoughts are a private monologue, harmless echoes that live and die inside your head. The truth, however, is infinitely more powerful and much more dangerous to the system. Your thoughts are not contained. They are not passive. They are energy transmissions, radio signals you constantly emit, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, shaping the quantum field around you. You're not just reacting to your day, you're conjuring it. Every experience, every interaction, every event is a physical mirror of your dominant mental transmission. That chaotic day when traffic was jammed, coffee spilled, and the meeting was a disaster. It didn't start on the street or in the office. It started with the frequency of stress and anxiety you began broadcasting the moment you opened your eyes. That stroke of luck, that unexpected encounter that opened a new door. It was the physical manifestation of a signal of clarity and openness you held, maybe just for a few minutes. So if you're such a powerful transmitter, why doesn't your life look like paradise? Why is the reality you experience often so far from what you want? The answer is uncomfortable. Because most of the signals you transmit weren't chosen by you. You're like a radio station that's been hacked, playing someone else's playlist. Your fears about money, your beliefs about relationships, your insecurities about your abilities. Where did they come from? They're programs, software installed in your mind by your family, your culture, the media. You're running society's operating system on your personal biocomputer. And that system is designed to self-perpetuate. When you worry about scarcity, you transmit a frequency of lack, and the universe dutifully delivers more bills to pay and fewer opportunities. When you believe you're not good enough, you emit a signal of self-deprecation, and reality brings you criticism and rejection to validate that belief. You get stuck in a cycle, a feedback loop, thinking this is your life, your destiny. But it's not destiny. It's programming. And any program can be uninstalled. Thoth's technique to take back control of your reality starts right here, on the control panel of your mind. The first step is not to force positive thoughts, which often only creates more resistance. It is, first and foremost, to become aware of the signal you're currently emitting. To stop being an unconscious transmitter and start becoming a deliberate frequency engineer. To actively choose your vibration. When you begin to do this, reality responds. It's a universal law, as fundamental as the law of gravity. The change may be subtle at first. A parking spot appears exactly when you need it. A green light opens up. Someone calls you the moment you think of them. These aren't coincidences. They're winks from the universe. Confirmations that it received your new signal. They're the first signs that you're taking back the wheel of your life. This is the beginning of the path to sovereignty. You realize you're not a victim of circumstances, but the broadcast center that creates them. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your transmission. But a signal, to be effective, needs more than just clear direction. It needs strength. It needs power. And that power doesn't come from the mind. It comes from a much deeper and more volatile source. A source you were taught to fear and suppress. A thought, no matter how clear and focused, is like an arrow without a bow. It has direction, but no force to fly. What propels your thoughts, what gives them the power to pierce the veil of illusion and manifest in the physical world, is the fuel of your emotions. And here lies the second big lie, used to keep you powerless. The idea that your emotions are weaknesses, character flaws, dangerous storms that need to be controlled, suppressed, or medicated into oblivion. The truth is the exact opposite. Your emotions are not the problem. They are the source of your power. Every feeling that moves through your body is pure, raw, unrefined energy. Anger is not a sin. It's the energy of change screaming to be unleashed against injustice. Fear is not cowardice. It's the energy of absolute focus, a sharp awareness preparing you for action. Sadness is not depression. It's the energy of deep connection, proof that you're capable of love and care. The system taught you to fear this energy because an emotionally castrated population is docile and easy to manipulate. A person who's afraid of their own anger will never fight for their rights. A person who suppresses their sadness disconnects from their own humanity and that of others. But a human being who learns to master their emotional fire, who becomes the master of their own inner energy, is a force of nature. They are uncontrollable, unpredictable, and absolutely free. Thoth didn't teach denial of emotions, but their transmutation. He taught inner alchemy, the sacred art of taking the heavy lead of a feeling like shame or jealousy and transforming it into the shining gold of personal power. And how do you do that? The answer is counterintuitive to a programmed mind. You stop fighting. You stop running. When fear tightens your chest, instead of distracting yourself or trying to rationalize it, you stop, breathe, and dive into it. You feel it fully, without judgment, and ask, what message are you bringing me? What power do you hold? By doing this, a fundamental shift occurs. You stop being the victim of the emotion and become the alchemist who uses it. You don't destroy it. You refine it. You extract its essence, its pure power, and separate it from the story of pain your mind built around it. The energy of fear, once refined, becomes focus and presence. The energy of anger becomes passion and determination. You're no longer at the mercy of your internal storms. You're riding their waves. This is exactly why the popularized law of attraction fails miserably for most people. They keep repeating affirmations of wealth while their bodies vibrate at the frequency of scarcity and fear. They try to visualize a loving relationship while their energy field pulses with the pain of loneliness and past rejection. The universe isn't deaf, but it doesn't hear your words. It responds to your music, your vibration, the frequency your emotional state is transmitting. When you learn to consciously take the energy of fear and use it to focus on your goal, or take the energy of frustration and turn it into fuel for disciplined action, your thoughts stop being mere wishes floating in the ether. They become guided missiles, loaded with an explosive power that reality cannot ignore. Your inner vision, once blurred by the fog of repressed emotions, begins to become crystal clear. But now that you have a loaded missile, where do you aim it? Now you have the two essential ingredients of creation: conscious thoughts, which give direction, and refined emotions, which provide fuel. But power without a point of application is just chaos. It's like having a rocket engine without a navigation system. You need a center, a point of stillness from which all the power can be exercised with precision. You need to find the eye of the hurricane that exists within you. Imagine the mind of most people as a violent storm. Thoughts are the howling winds, changing direction every second. Emotions are the giant waves, tossing them from side to side. They live in a constant state of reaction, being dragged by chaos, believing they are the storm itself. They identify with every thought, drown in every emotion, completely unaware that there is a place of absolute calm right in the center of it all. You are not the storm. You never were. You are the silent, unmoving eye of the hurricane. You are the pure awareness that watches thoughts arise and disappear, like clouds in the sky. You are the silent space in which emotions are felt, but which is never touched by them. The throne of your sovereign consciousness has always been there, waiting for you to stop fighting the storm and simply remember where your true place is. The technique to reclaim this throne is disarmingly simple for the complex mind. It is the act of becoming the observer of yourself. Next time, an anxious thought about the future arises. Instead of being hijacked by it and spiraling into worry, stop. Step back internally and just name what's happening, like a scientist observing a phenomenon. Ah, interesting. Consciousness is aware of an anxious thought. That small shift in perspective is revolutionary. By doing this, you create a separation, a space. In that space, the magic happens. You stop being the amateur actor lost in the drama of your own mind and become the director, calmly sitting in the chair, watching the scene unfold. You're no longer the leaf being carried by the river's current. You're the rock in the middle of the river, unmoving, feeling the water pass by you but not being swept away by it. Practicing this, sitting on that throne of inner stillness, even for just 5 minutes a day, begins to rewire your whole system. The energy that was once wasted on automatic reactions and useless mental dramas is now conserved. Your mind, once a noisy marketplace, starts to resemble a serene lake on a windless morning. And it is on the perfectly calm surface of that lake that the reflections of deeper reality begin to become visible. It is from this center of silent power, this eye of the hurricane, that your inner vision can finally begin to operate without distortion. Intuition stops being a guess and becomes clear knowing. You begin to perceive the answers before you even ask the questions. But for that vision to transform from passive perception into an active force capable of piercing the densest veils of illusion and reshaping reality itself, you need one last tool. The most crucial of all, you found your center. You are calm, grounded, full of power and potential. But how do you project that inner strength into the outer world and create real, tangible change? The answer lies in the most powerful, and at the same time, most attacked, tool of the modern era, your capacity to concentrate. Your focused attention is the blade of your consciousness, and the system that imprisons you knows this better than you do. Think of your attention as the most valuable currency in the cosmos. Wherever you invest it, your life energy flows and nourishes it. That's why everything around you is in a constant war for a piece of it. The endless notifications, the infinite scrolling feeds, the news headlines designed to shock, the advertising that creates desires you didn't have. All of it has one purpose: to fracture your attention into 1,000 pieces, because a distracted mind is a powerless mind, unable to gather enough force to change anything. Thoth taught that a scattered mind is like a regular light bulb, illuminating a little bit of everything but not strong enough to transform anything. A concentrated mind, however, is like a laser beam. All its energy is focused on a single point, creating such an intense force that it can cut through the strongest steel. Or, in this case, cut through the illusions of reality and inscribe a new truth in its place. Concentration is what turns intention into a command the universe cannot ignore. True concentration, however, has nothing to do with tension or effort. It's not about gritting your teeth and forcing the mind to stay still. That only creates more resistance. The concentration taught in the ancient mysteries is an act of love, of devotion. It is the ability to gently rest your attention on a single point of focus and keep it there, not with force, but with loving interest, like a mother watching her child sleep. Start simple. Light a candle and just observe the flame. Your mind will wander. It'll remind you of a bill to pay, a conversation you had, something you need to do. Don't fight it. Don't judge yourself. Just notice that the mind wandered, and with the gentleness of someone catching a butterfly, bring your attention back to the flame. Every time you do this, you're strengthening the muscle of your will. You're sharpening the blade of your consciousness. At first, it will feel like a losing battle. Your mind, addicted to jumping from branch to branch, will rebel against this new discipline. But if you persist, something extraordinary begins to happen. The gaps of silence between thoughts grow longer. The need to react to every stimulus fades, and then you experience it. A moment of focus so deep that the outside world seems to vanish. The noise of your mind completely ceases. You and the flame become one. In this state of unity, of total absorption, the veil between worlds thins. This is where manifestation stops being a slow process and becomes almost instantaneous. It's in this focused silence that remote viewing, long-distance healing, and telepathic communication become natural abilities, not magic tricks. Your intention, now fueled by the power of your emotions and sharpened by the blade of your concentration, is no longer a request, it is a decree. But how do you ensure that this decree is issued consistently day after day until the new reality solidifies and becomes your default state? You now hold the power of clear intention, the fuel of refined emotion, the center of sovereign stillness, and the sharpened blade of concentration. You have all the components of a single act of powerful creation. But how do you turn a moment of power into a life of power? How do you make sure the change isn't just a flash of light, but a permanent new dawn? The answer lies in the deepest and simplest secret of all masters, the power of sacred repetition. The universe does not operate on isolated, dramatic events. It operates in rhythms, cycles, and consistent patterns. The tide rises and falls. The seasons change. The planets spin in their orbits with impeccable precision. Repetition is not monotony, as your conditioned mind might believe. Repetition is the language of commitment. It is the method by which you engrave your new vibrational signature onto the fabric of reality, turning a fleeting desire into an inevitable presence. Think of it like carving a path through a dense forest. The first time you walk it, you barely leave a trace. But if you walk that same path every day, the vegetation starts to give way, the ground gets compacted, and soon a clear and easy-to-follow trail is formed. Every time you consciously choose calm over reaction, you're strengthening a new neural pathway in your brain. Every time you transmute a dense emotion, you're rewriting the energetic code of your body. The true ritual for unlocking your inner vision doesn't require altars, candles, staining, or complex spells, unless you choose to use them as tools for focus. The most powerful ritual is the consistent, moment-by-moment application of the truths you've already discovered. The ritual begins the moment you wake up. Instead of letting your mind race to the day's worries, you anchor it in your throne of sovereignty, choosing your frequency before the world has a chance to impose its own on you. Throughout the day, every time a challenging emotion arises, you don't suppress it or explode. You meet it with the presence of an alchemist, transforming it into clarity and power. This is your real-time ritual of transmutation. And in the moments of stillness you create for yourself, you practice concentration, not as a chore, but as an act of devotion to your own soul, sharpening the blade of your mind. This is your ritual of focus. It's this daily consistency that transforms intellectual knowledge into embodied wisdom. The truth stops being something you know and becomes something you are. It's no longer an effort to be sovereign. Sovereignty becomes your default state of being. And it's at this point that the invisible work you've been doing begins to produce visible and undeniable results in the outer world. Life stops feeling like a random struggle and starts to feel like a choreographed dance. The universe mirrors your commitment. When it sees that you're not just playing with these ideas, but actually living them every day, it starts to respond in kind. Synchronicities increase, doors open, the right people show up, not as a reward, but as a natural reflection of your new, stable frequency. You've embodied the code, you've become the rhythm, and now, and only now, are you truly ready for the final technique, the key that unlocks the door of perception once and for all. You've reached the threshold. The journey through the layers of your own consciousness has brought you here. You've learned to command your thoughts, transmute your emotions, sit on the throne of your silent power, and focus your will like a laser. You understand now that consistency is the language the universe respects. And now you stand before the final portal. And the key to open it is not new information or a complex trick. It's the convergence of everything you've become. Thoth's supreme technique for unlocking inner vision is not an act you perform, but an event that happens through you when the right conditions are created. It's the alchemical fusion of all the elements you've patiently cultivated. In a state of deep meditation, when the outer world has faded and inner silence is established, you'll initiate the final sequence. Sit on your throne of consciousness. Feel the calm and power that are now rightfully yours. First, summon your energy. Bring into your awareness the refined strength of your emotions. Not raw anger or paralyzing fear, but the essence of power you've learned to extract from them. Feel this energy like an ocean of pure potential, calm and vibrant, contained within your being. It's the fuel for the rocket, ready for ignition. Feel this fullness in your chest, a serene, unshakable force waiting for your command. Second, focus the laser. Direct the entirety of your attention, the sharp blade of your consciousness, to a single point located at the center of your forehead, slightly above the space between your eyebrows. Don't visualize anything. Don't force anything. Just rest your attention there, with silent devotion. Feel the subtle sensation at that point. This is the physical portal, the material anchor for your pineal gland, your spiritual eye. Keep your focus there, firm yet relaxed. Third, and most crucial, unite the two. With your attention firmly anchored at the portal on your forehead, give a soft, silent command for the ocean of energy in your chest to begin to rise. Visualize or feel this powerful energy moving upward like a column of liquid light, traveling from your heart to the exact point where your attention is focused. See the energy and the focus meeting, merging, becoming one. The energy fuels the focus, and the focus directs the energy. This is the moment when ignition occurs. The union of purified emotional energy with absolute concentration works like two safety keys turning in a vault lock at the same time. You may feel intense heat, a vibration, or a gentle pressure at that point. You may see patterns of light or violet and indigo colors dancing behind your closed eyes. Ignore all of it. These are just side effects. Keep your focus. Keep feeding the point with your energy. Then, without warning, the lock opens. The shift is unmistakable. It may manifest as a flash of white or golden light so bright it seems to illuminate your entire skull from the inside. It may be a sudden feeling of expansion, as if your consciousness has broken free from the body and is floating in the infinite. Or, more commonly, It comes as an instant download of pure knowledge. An absolute clarity about a complex issue. An answer to a question you've carried for years. A direct perception of truth without the filter of logic or language. This is it. This is the awakening of your inner vision. It's not about seeing the future in a crystal ball, but about perceiving the energetic structure of the present with such clarity that the patterns of the future become obvious. It's reading truth in a person's energy field, regardless of the words they speak. It's sensing the path of least resistance and greatest growth for your soul. The Emerald Key didn't give you a new power. It simply removed the veil that was keeping you from using the power that was always yours. You didn't learn a trick. You remembered who you are. The door has opened. The light of your own consciousness has flooded the darkness, and for the first time, you glimpsed reality as it truly is. But this is only the beginning. Opening the portal is one thing. Learning to navigate the infinite ocean that lies beyond it is something else entirely. You now face a challenge that few are prepared to meet. What to do with everything you can now see. Your inner vision is not a television channel with a clear, defined program. It's a chaotic ocean of pure information, a constant stream of energetic data flooding your perception. Suddenly, you begin to feel the unspoken anxiety of a coworker, the sadness hidden behind a friend's smile, the dense energy hanging in a room long after an argument has taken place. You pick up echoes of past events and the vibrational probabilities of potential futures. At first, this flood of information is overwhelming. It's like trying to hear a single conversation in the middle of a packed stadium. Your mind, used to a limited sensory reality, goes into overload, trying to process 1,000 radio stations playing at once. This is exactly the point where many who stumble accidentally upon this power get lost. They confuse other people's thoughts for their own, drown in the pain of others, or get scared by the intensity of perception and shut the portal again, sometimes forever. They didn't have the training to navigate these waters, but you do. You've built the foundation, the discipline, and the sovereignty needed to not drown. Thoth's first rule for this new phase is crucial. Don't believe everything you see or feel. Your mind is still a machine of interpretation. Your logical mind, when faced with this vast new range of data, will desperately try to categorize, label, and explain everything based on its old database of experiences. It will mix pure psychic perception with its own fears, hopes, judgments, and biases. The key to discernment, then, isn't mental analysis, but in refining the skill you've already developed, feeling resonance. Truth has a specific energetic signature. It is calm, neutral, solid, silent, and simply is. Lies, illusions, projections, and fear are always loud, chaotic, emotionally charged, and unstable. To keep your channel of perception clean, you need to adopt a daily practice of psychic hygiene. Just like you take a shower to wash off the day's physical grime, you need to cleanse your energetic field of the impressions you've picked up. Every night before bed, take a few minutes to visualize a waterfall of pure white light flowing through you, washing away and dissolving all energies, thoughts, and emotions that are not originally yours. This practice is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Without it, you become a sponge, a dumping ground for the world's energetic trash. With consistent practice of cleansing and discernment, your perception becomes incredibly sharp and reliable. You don't just feel that a room has heavy energy. You begin to see the shape and location of the stagnant energy. You don't just sense that someone is being dishonest. You perceive the vibrational dissonance between what the person's mouth is saying and what their heart is transmitting. You become a fluent reader of reality at its most fundamental level, the level of energy and information. You've learned to read the source code of the universe, But true mastery doesn't just lie in reading what's written. It lies in learning how to write your own lines of code. What if I told you the universe isn't a static book, but an ongoing dialogue, and that it's constantly sending you messages, winking at you, waiting for you to finally realize the conversation already started? The next step is learning to decode this cosmic language. What you used to brush off as a simple coincidence, a curious accident, you'll now recognize for what it really is: direct communication. With the channel of your inner vision finally open and clear, you begin to perceive the patterns, the secret language the universe uses to speak to you. This language is woven into the fabric of your daily life through symbols and synchronicities. It's not random. It's an intelligent, real-time feedback system confirming that your transmissions are being received and responded to. You're pondering a complex problem, feeling lost, and as you turn a corner, the exact answer you needed is printed on a billboard or heard in a snippet of conversation between passing strangers. You wonder if you're on the right path in your journey, and suddenly, you start seeing the same number sequence, like 111 or 777, on license plates, clocks, and receipts. You make a firm decision to change a fundamental aspect of your life, and a specific power animal, like an owl or a butterfly, begins to cross your path repeatedly. This isn't your mind making patterns where there are none. It's the universe literally winking at you, waving, saying, "I heard your intention. I'm with you. Keep going." Thoth teaches that physical reality is the ultimate mirror of your state of consciousness. When you manage to align your thoughts, emotions, and focus into a stable frequency, the outer world is cosmically bound to reflect that alignment back to you. Synchronicities are the first and clearest reflections to appear on the mirror's surface, the first evidence that your inner magic is working. Your task now is to become a master interpreter of this symbolic language. And the key to fluency isn't in symbol dictionaries or esoteric guides. While they can offer a base, the true meaning of a symbol is deeply personal. It's what it means to you, in your unique context. When a symbol or synchronous event catches your attention, the technique is to stop immediately. Take a deep breath, silence the analytical mind, and ask your deepest self, your intuition, what is the message here for me, right now? The first response, the first feeling, the first image that comes up is the correct translation. The more you recognize, appreciate, and act on these signs, the more frequent and clearer they become. You stop being a passive observer of life and enter into a conscious, dynamic dialogue with the cosmos. Life becomes a dance. You send out a clear intention, a step. The universe replies with a confirming sign, the next step of the dance. You act confidently based on that sign, and the universe responds again, maybe removing an obstacle or opening a door that was once locked. You stop swimming upstream, exhausted and frustrated, and learn to feel the flow of the river of life, using its strength to take you exactly where your soul needs to go. The feeling of loneliness fades, replaced by the overwhelming certainty that you are never alone. You've always had a guide, a dance partner. You just didn't know how to hear the music. Now that you're in constant dialogue with reality, Thoth invites you to transcend the most fundamental illusion that traps the human mind. It's time to break the chains that bind you to the linear, limited perception of time. Society has taught and programmed you to perceive time as a one-way street. The past is behind you, irretrievably lost. The future is ahead, uncertain and out of reach, and you're stuck in a fleeting fragment called the present. This is perhaps the most clever and imprisoning lie of all. Thoth, master of cycles, teaches that time is not a line, but an ocean. Every moment that has ever existed and every moment that will ever exist coexist simultaneously, like different locations in this vast ocean of consciousness. Your perception, once confined to a small drifting boat, can now learn to raise its sails and navigate. With your inner vision now tuned to higher frequencies, you begin to develop the ability to sense the currents and tides of this temporal ocean. You begin to perceive the energetic echoes of the past that still influence the present, and, more importantly, to feel the ripples of probable futures extending from each moment of choice. This isn't fortune-telling in the vulgar sense of the word. It's the perception of patterns on a multi-dimensional scale. Just as a meteorologist forecasts the weather by observing pressure and temperature patterns, you learn to feel the forecast of events by perceiving the energies shaping them. The technique to master this perception isn't one of effort, but of receptivity and bodily sensitivity. In your state of focus and stillness, when faced with an important decision, stop trying to solve it using logic alone. Instead, feel the timelines. Close your eyes and imagine yourself taking choice A. Don't think about it. Feel it in every cell of your body. Does that timeline bring you a feeling of expansion, lightness, and joy? Or does it generate contraction, a weight in your stomach, a sense of stagnation? Now clear your mind and do the same with choice B. Your body, free from the static of the analytical mind, becomes the most accurate compass for navigating time. It can feel which vibrational path, which potential future, is most aligned with your soul's mission and highest good. This is precognition in its most practical and useful form. It's not about knowing the lottery numbers, but about moving through life with a grace, efficiency, and perfect timing that will seem supernatural to those still trapped in the illusion of the straight line. Life stops being a series of accidents and becomes a sequence of conscious, aligned choices. But mastery of time goes beyond just sensing it. You can actively influence it. The future is not a carved-in-stone destination. It's a field of quantum probabilities, and your frequency in the present moment acts as a powerful magnet, attracting and solidifying the probability that most closely matches your vibration. You no longer need to desperately chase the future you want. Instead, you become in the now, the person who already lives in that future. You anchor the vibration of success, love, or peace into your being, and the universe rearranges time and space to bring that reality to you. With this understanding, anxiety about the future dissolves because you realize you're actively creating it with every breath. Regret and guilt about the past lose their grip because you understand that every event, no matter how painful, was a necessary stepping stone that brought you to this exact moment of power and awareness. Time stops being a tyrant rushing you and becomes your blank canvas, your creative playground. And if you can communicate with the cosmos and navigate the ocean of time, what's stopping you from transcending the final barrier of separation and communicating directly with other minds? The idea of telepathy has been pushed into the realm of science fiction and fantasy, but that's just another strategy to keep you disconnected from your innate abilities. Mind-to-mind communication isn't a magical power. It's an inevitable consequence of the physics of consciousness. If Yapo, as you've already learned, all thoughts are frequencies of energy radiating outward, then it makes sense that these frequencies can be picked up by other tuned antennas. Other minds. Non-verbal, non-physical communication happens all the time on a subliminal level. Most people are simply so immersed in internal noise that they can't decode the signal. But you're no longer like most people. You've learned how to quiet your mind and clear your field. The first step to mastering conscious telepathy isn't trying to invade someone's mind to read their thoughts. That's an ego-driven approach, crude and ineffective. The true path begins with the art of deep empathic listening. In your state of stillness, bring into your awareness the image of someone you know well, Don't try to guess what they're thinking or doing. Instead, relax and open up to feel the music of their energetic field. You may pick up a color, a sensation of warmth or cold, a dominant emotion like sadness or joy, or even a physical feeling in your own body that matches what the other person is experiencing. Maybe you feel a twinge in your left shoulder and later find out your friend injured theirs. Maybe you're flooded with a wave of inexplicable peace and receive a message that this person just had a spiritual experience. This is telepathy in its purest, most useful form, sensing the truth of another's state of being. Beyond masks and words, the second stage is conscious transmission, and this skill must be wielded with the highest integrity and a purpose of service. The goal is never to manipulate, control, or force your will onto another person. It's a tool for healing, support, and heart-to-heart communication, especially when words fall short. The process is simple and powerful. First, formulate a clear, concise, and positive message in your mind, like I send you strength or feel the peace that is available to you. Then, and this is the most important step, charge that message with the matching emotion. Feel the strength, the peace, or the love in every cell of your being. Emotion is what gives power to the transmission. Finally, in a state of deep concentration, visualize that sphere of thought and emotion instantly traveling through space, from your heart to theirs, gently surrounding them in light. You're not forcing entry. You're offering an energetic gift their soul may accept or not. The person on the other end might not hear your words as a voice in their head. Instead, they may feel a sudden wave of calm, receive an unexpected insight to solve a problem, or simply think of you with a feeling of warmth and connection. You've sent a healing transmission, a silent act of love. By practicing both listening and transmission, you realize a shocking, liberating truth. The barriers that seem to separate us are completely illusory. We're all swimming in the same ocean of consciousness. This realization brings with it a monumental responsibility. You understand your thoughts are never just yours. Every thought is a drop you add to the collective ocean, contributing to either the pollution or the purification of human consciousness. You become a vigilant guardian of your own mental garden, knowing your flowers or weeds affect the whole ecosystem. And with this understanding of the interconnectedness of all minds, you're now ready for Thoth's penultimate secret, the truth about the nature of matter itself and physical reality. You've journeyed through the depths of your mind, sailed the ocean of time, and communicated through silence. Now Thoth invites you to climb to the mountaintop of perception. From this elevated viewpoint, look down at the world you've always believed was solid, external, and separate from you. And see the final truth, the revelation at the heart of all mysteries. The world is not a thing, it's a reflection. Reality is not a place you live in. It's a mirror that relentlessly shows you what you're broadcasting. Your whole journey to this point wasn't about learning to manipulate an external reality. It was about polishing the mirror of your own consciousness. When your mirror was dirty, fogged, and distorted by the dust of limiting beliefs, the grime of repressed emotions, and the cracks of trauma, it could only reflect a distorted, ugly, and fragmented image. Now that you've learned how to cleanse and polish your inner mirror, it can finally reflect your true image, your divine nature, in all its glory. This is the secret behind all miracles. Matter, which seems so dense and real, is an illusion of the senses. Quantum physics has already proven this in the lab. At the most fundamental level, everything is energy and information, a vibrational field of infinite potential. And what collapses that field of infinite potential into a specific physical experience? Consciousness. Your consciousness. The frequency you hold consistently acts as a mold, and the universal energy, like liquid clay, fills that mold to create your physical reality. The technique to shape reality, then, is not a technique, it's a state of being. It's the full, effortless embodiment of everything you've learned. It's living every moment from your throne of sovereignty, with the heart of an alchemist and the focused mind of a master. In this state, your beliefs are no longer just opinions or hopes. They become vibrational decrees, physical laws in your personal universe. When you hold the unshakable belief, I am perfectly healthy, not born from desire, but from inner knowing, the mirror of reality is cosmically compelled to reorganize the cells and systems of your body to match that image. If you embody the vibration of abundance, feeling it in your bones as a fundamental truth, the mirror must reorganize circumstances, people, and events to bring you resources and opportunities. Change never happens out there. It always happens in here. If you experience lack, it's not because the world is scarce. It's because there's a scarcity program running in your subconscious. Bring that program into the light of your awareness, dissolve it with your alchemical power, and replace it with the truth of infinite abundance. The mirror has no choice but to reflect this new programming. This is what absolute power means, and it comes with absolute responsibility. You can no longer blame the government, the economy, your parents, or your past. They were just actors playing roles that your own consciousness assigned them. You realize that every judgment you cast on the world is a command for it to be that way for you. Every fear you feed is a prayer for the experience you dread most. You become impeccable with your energy, not out of fear, but out of deep respect for the creative power you wield. You stop being a passive reactor to life and become its master architect. You no longer need to see it to believe it. Your belief becomes the cause of what you see. You don't wait for conditions to change so you can feel good. You feel good so the conditions can change. You're no longer a spectator of reality. You are the projector. You are the scribe and the script, the dreamer and the dream. And the world is your blank papyrus, waiting for the sacred words you will choose to inscribe on it next. You've journeyed from the darkness of mental imprisonment to the throne of sovereign power. You've learned to decode the language of the universe, to navigate the ocean of time, and to communicate beyond the veil of words. You finally understood the deepest truth. The world is a mirror of your consciousness. You've become a master of creation. So, what's left? What's the next step when you've already reached the power so many seek? Thoth's final initiation isn't about acquiring more skills or knowledge. It's about complete surrender to the power that now flows through you. You are no longer a separate individual seeking power for yourself. That identity has dissolved. You've become a channel, a conduit for the power of the universe itself. Your personal will, once guided by ego and desire, is now aligned and merged with divine will, with the evolutionary impulse of the cosmos. Your desires are no longer about personal gain. They become the desires of life itself, seeking to express through you in ever more beautiful and complex ways. Your inner vision is no longer a faculty you have to switch on or off. It has become your natural state of being, as effortless as breathing. You walk through the world and perceive the web of golden energy connecting all things. You look into someone's eyes and see the ancient soul behind the mask of personality. You face a challenge and immediately see the lesson and the gift it carries. Clairvoyance, telepathy, and precognition are no longer psychic powers. They are simply the expanded senses of your awakened soul. The greatest service you offer the world now is not performing spectacular feats or psychic displays to impress others. Your greatest service is simply to hold your frequency, your very presence, anchored in peace, clarity, and unconditional love, becomes a silent force of transformation. You walk into a tense room, and without saying a word, the energy calms. You have a simple conversation with someone, and they leave with a sense of clarity and purpose they didn't have before. You didn't do anything. Your vibration did everything. You become a keeper of the flame of consciousness, truth, and sovereignty. Your task is no longer to convert or convince anyone. That would be a violation of free will. Your task is simply to keep your own inner flame burning so brightly and steadily that it becomes a beacon in the darkness. Those who are lost and seeking the light will naturally be drawn to your warmth and illumination, not by your words, but by the resonance of your being. You begin to speak less, but every word you do speak carries the weight of truth and lands with deep impact. You begin to do less, but each action, born from flow and intuition, creates waves of positive change far greater than years of forced effort. You stop struggling and learn to dance with life, moving in a state of grace, effortless power, and serene joy. The search is over. You're no longer trying to reach enlightenment. You are enlightenment expressing itself. The journey that began with the painful realization of being in a prison ends with the liberating understanding that there were never any bars. There was only a door that was locked from the inside, and the key, as you now know, was always in your hand. You are free, but freedom is not the final destination. It is the starting point of your true mission. What does a master of reality, a being who has transcended illusion, do with their freedom? Do they retreat to a monastery on a mountaintop to enjoy their peace forever? No. That would be the ego's final act, seeking bliss for itself. True mastery is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of service. It's the moment you turn around, look back at the valley from where you came, and extend a hand to help others climb the mountain. Thoth teaches that the moment a soul reaches this level of sovereignty and integration, it is presented with a fundamental choice. It can continue its upward journey, exploring higher realms of light and consciousness, merging back into the source. Or it can take the bodhisattva vow, to consciously choose to remain engaged with the earthly plane, not from karmic necessity, but from compassion, acting as an anchor point, a transformer of energy for the collective consciousness of humanity. If this message resonated with you on such a deep level, it's almost certain that your soul made this choice long ago, even before this incarnation. Your life's mission, from this point of awakening, is no longer about your own healing, your own success, or your own manifestation. Your life becomes a strategic work of art, a sacred performance designed to catalyze awakening in others. Your successes are not to inflate your ego, but to serve as inspiration, to show others what is humanly possible. Your hardships and challenges don't disappear, but your relationship with them changes. They are no longer punishments or accidents. They become live demonstrations of how to transmute darkness into light, lead into gold. You become a divine disruptor, an agent of change. You might be guided to start a business based on principles of consciousness instead of greed. You might be inspired to create art, music, or literature that carries activation codes to awaken other souls. Or your mission might simply be to create a family that becomes an oasis of love and sanity, a beacon in your community. The outer form of your mission doesn't matter. The intention and frequency behind it are everything. You're no longer working for the me. You're working for the we. You operate from a place of deep detachment and trust. You give your all to your projects but aren't attached to the outcome, because you know the real work is the energy of love and sovereignty you infuse into the collective field with every moment. Be prepared to be misunderstood. People who still operate from the paradigm of fear and separation may call you arrogant, naive, dangerous, or crazy. They will project their own shadows onto your light. You learn to bless them, to see them with compassion, and to keep moving, because your validation no longer comes from external approval. It comes from the silent, solid, unshakable connection to the source of all life pulsing in your own heart. You are a torchbearer in a world that has grown used to the dim light. And the best part? You know you're not alone. You've reached the end of this path of knowledge, but you're only at the beginning of your true life as an awakened being. For a moment, stop. Silence your mind. Feel. Feel beyond the walls of your room, beyond the limits of your city. There's a vibration in the air, a new song beginning to play. Feel the others. There are others like you, thousands, millions, waking up to this same truth at this exact moment in planetary history. The silent call has been sent through the ether, and your soul answered. We are not isolated individuals, each fighting our own private battle against the darkness. That is the final illusion of separation. We are the nodes of a vast and growing network of light, a grid of Christ consciousness lighting up across the globe. Every time you choose love over fear, you send a wave of empowerment through this entire network. Every time you transmute a dense emotion within yourself, you help lighten the burden of the whole collective. Your personal healing is planetary healing. Thoth's technique, this entire body of knowledge, was not given to you just for your individual liberation. That would be a waste of its potential. It was given so that you could become a strong, stable anchor point in this global network. So you could hold a frequency of clarity and sovereignty so pure that it helps raise the vibration of everyone around you, whether they're aware of it or not. Your journey is no longer a lonely quest for enlightenment. You are a soldier of light, a crucial piece in a much greater divine plan. The chaos, disorder, and fear you see being amplified in the world are not signs that all is lost. Quite the opposite. They are the loud, desperate cries of an old paradigm dying. They are the painful contractions of a new earth being born. The darkness seems darkest just before dawn, and the light you feel igniting inside you, that silent certainty, that unshakable peace, is the first ray of that new dawn. The final question that Thoth, the universe, and your own soul ask you now is not what will you do with all this power. The question is much deeper. Who will you choose to be in every moment from now on? The answer to that question will define the rest of your journey and the impact you'll have on this world. If you've made it this far, it wasn't by accident. Your consciousness was ready to receive this key. You felt the call, and you answered. To let me know you're part of the small group that received this knowledge, leave the phrase in the comments. I can see the invisible. Keeping this channel active and spreading content like this, content that challenges the system, requires a lot of energy and resources. If you feel called in your heart to help in a more direct way, there's a link in the first pinned comment where you can make a contribution. Any help is immensely appreciated by me and supports the growth of the channel, allowing this message to reach more people who are ready to awaken. But understand this. Just the fact that you watched until the end is already a huge help. Your energy and attention are the most valuable currency. If this content resonated with you, another powerful way to help is to share it with just one person you know who's also searching for truth. And before you go, your journey doesn't have to stop here. I've picked a special video for you, a piece of content that goes deeper into the next step after opening your vision. Don't leave yet. Click on the video that's appearing on the screen now, and I'll meet you there.